Okay, confession time. I lowered it another 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, it was looking pretty good. And but the deal is, I think I want to make it, after sleeping on it, I want to make it as close to original as possible, maybe a bit lower. And that's about where it sits right now. And I want to make sure that I don't set the rake on it, or the angle, you know, from front to back. By looking at the body, I want to make it absolutely parallel to the old Cadillac. So the idea was to eyeball, and I know that that's what GM does at the factory. They just get down on the floor and they eyeball it and make it run parallel, so that it's not sloping one way or the other. Because then the deal is, you buy coilover shocks, adjustable ones, and they'll adjust from like 0 low to 3 inches low. And I've probably got lots of fender clearance, so I wouldn't have a problem doing that. And at some point, it's probably going to need new shocks anyway, new struts anyway. So it's about $1,000 or something, maybe, you know, 1,200-1,500 Canadian for a really good set. And then I can set it where I want. So in the meantime, we'll try to make it stock Cadillac, stock 49. So we've got it leveled this way, left and right, by, I don't know how I did that. Oh, I started at the back, and I found the level for the very back, just inside the back bumper, inside the trunk. And didn't level it to gravity level, but I leveled it to the actual Cadillac. So, because I just want to make them the same, because who knows if the floor's exactly right? So you set it on there, measure it up, and then I set the front and make mounts. So I made a set of mounts for the back, and temporary mounts, and a set of temporary mounts for the front, just in front of the doorpost here, because that way I can take the body off and on from now on, and it'll always end up exactly in the right spot, because it's perfectly in the right spot now, I must say. So it's leveled all 3 ways. It's centered down the middle of the car by measuring the clearance inside the tires and other places wherever you can measure, you know. And same thing with the front. Measured, there's a ridge here inside the Cadillac that's pretty solid, and the same on both sides of the car. So that basically measured to that to get the center line there. Slope is right, the balance is right, the height is right, and now I'll set those mounts in place, and then I can start working. Next thing I got to do is take out this brace here. I got to take the brace out because I need to put a door in here, so I can try the fender. There's one bolt here where the fender bolts at the top. Other than that, I have no points of reference because there's nothing left of the 49 from the firewall forward. And so we're going to cobble all that up. But it's looking like it's going to be close, you know. I was afraid I was going to have to move the air filter, but I don't think I'm going to have to, because half of it removes anyway. It stays under the fender. The other side, the battery box, I'm not sure about it yet. I have to put a fender on first. And also the fuse box, that one I might have to move. But I could probably move it a couple of inches, you know, without disturbing too much at the front there. But everything is so packed in. But I tell you what, it's going to ride nice. Today's kind of a telltale day, actually, because we really have not yet established that this is really going to work. And so as we move around towards the front of the car now, though, this is kind of the last frontier. I know a few hours from now, I should have a pretty good idea whether or not I'm going to be able to morph those fenders from the 49 into where the Cadillac, so much beams and stuff. So the first thing is, I've got to take this temporary angle iron that I put in here out, because there's not room here for the fender to go over. It's got to go in yet. See, it's sticking way out there. And so I made a new beam here, and this is going to go on here and then replace that. Now, the CTS, the V version, which is the one with the Corvette engine in it, they actually have a brace that goes from one side of the engine to the other. And so this is not strange for the CTS. Then we'll kind of start cutting and planning on how we're going to move these front fenders in to where they need to be. Okay, so we'll get this angle iron out of the way. That'll be a start. We'll get this thing bolted in first. You don't want to unbolt everything and then try and bolt it up again later in case something shifts. But what I've done basically is I've decided that that's where the body's going to stay. not going to move again. And then the rest of everything else is going to have to fit around it. Yeah, so here goes. I'm really hoping that this will work. You know, I mean, we'll try pretty hard at this point because we've come a long ways. and it's been working. I am actually quite impressed with the way this has worked so far, the way that it has actually fit up with the Cadillac pretty nicely. And so, of course, there's the door in place now so that we can start putting the fender, you know, find where the fender goes. And this is the one hole right here that this bolt goes into this hole, right? That gets bolted into there. So you can see that fender's not anywhere near alignment yet. And one more thing, some of the trouble that you'll run into when you're building a car, right, is the opinions of other people. Now, it's pretty good right now because this is the COVID thing, right? We're locked down, nobody's coming around here, but people are watching on YouTube and on Facebook or whatever. So I posted an episode, I think episode 3 or whatever, or 1, I'm not sure. And some guy immediately comes on there and starts, you know, just criticizing my build because it's not pure, you know, he's a purist kind of guy, and whatever on earth that is, because everybody's got modifications at some point, otherwise you can't use your car. But, you know, putting it on a newer Cadillac, that was just the unpardonable sin. The whole idea of making these videos is because I want people to, you know, be inspired, and, you know, some guys are not going to come out here and some guys don't have a shop, you know, well, good on you. You know, it's still good to learn, but don't bash other guys, right? And so, but how do you handle that? Like, how do you deal with that? And I'm old enough now that it's like water off a duck's back. Because I'm inspired by this idea. I think, you know, we could have something here. And the reason is because you think about this now. If you are paying attention on social media and in the mechanics world, in the hot rod building world, there's a lot of guys now going to electric. Like, how do you now get rid of the gasoline engine and put electric in? I mean, that's a sad day for me. I mean, I love gasoline engines, right? But the question is, how are you going to do that? Well, look at, if I can do this to a Cadillac, why couldn't we cut a Tesla apart and put this body on it? Hey, maybe that would work. Because the problems that they're having in converting an old car like this, well, you pretty well can't in an old car like this because there's no place to put the batteries. But see, Tesla's built like that. The whole undercarriage of the car is built like that. Any electric car is. And so you see guys putting them in pickups now, or there's one in a Blazer, and so the back of the pickup is full of batteries. Well, that's not going to work. I mean, it's a step forward. But if we really want to make an electric car that's really going to be awesome and fly and look like a 49 Chev, why not do it like this? So if I can do this, maybe that'll be my next project. I'll buy a rolled over Tesla and another 49, well, actually I got a whole row of them sitting out there. I got a couple of 51s out there. And I'd love to do something like that, right? Wouldn't that be cool if it was like Tesla powered 51 2-door Chev hardtop? That would be cool. So that's what you do with criticism. And one more thing. Could you just subscribe to this and like it, or however that works, so that you get notified when I put new videos up? Because it's just inspiring. And I'm not selling you anything. Any ads that come on here, they're not from me, they're from YouTube or whatever. I'm just doing this for the fun. And for a reason, it's kind of like to pay it forward or to back pay it or whatever it is. But when I think about all of the times that I've gone onto the internet, on the website, Googled, you know, how to fix my clothes dryer or whatever it may be, or stuff with these cars, and somebody's gone to the effort to make a video to show me how to do that, I am really thankful. And I'll subscribe and like it, and you know, just to encourage the guy, because this stuff is really helpful. Now, how many guys do you know that are putting a 06 Cadillac under a 49 Chev? Well, maybe not many, but there could be some. And I'm kind of thinking that you learn a lot of other stuff besides. That's just handy stuff. I mean, I watch stuff that I'm not going to do, but because I get all kinds of different ideas of things that I am going to do. So that's the benefit of it, you know, just keep the stuff going. So subscribe, like it, and I'll see you next time I put up a video.